Iran strikes back. Massive missile and drone attacks hit Israel and US bases. Could this ignite a full-scale war? Good evening. This is a special report from the Global News Desk. The date is 28 February 2026. The world is witnessing a moment of unprecedented escalation in the Middle East. What began this morning as a massive, coordinated military operation by the United States and Israel against targets inside Iran has now triggered a response that is fundamentally reshaping the strategic landscape of the entire region. Iran has launched a massive, multi-wave retaliatory campaign, firing hundreds of missiles and drones not only at Israel but at a network of American military bases and diplomatic facilities across the Gulf states. We are now in the opening hours of what appears to be a full-scale regional war. To understand the sheer scale of what is unfolding, we need to piece together the timeline of Iran's response, which began almost immediately after the first US-Israeli bombs fell on Tehran. At approximately 9:45 a.m. local time this morning, joint American and Israeli airstrikes commenced, targeting what the Pentagon described as military and security centers across Iran, including facilities linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Basij militia. Within hours, the Iranian leadership made good on its long-standing threats of retaliation. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, announced the launch of what it called a large-scale missile and drone attack against Israel, warning that all its bases and interests in the region were now within Iran's reach. The first waves of Iranian projectiles began falling in the early afternoon, Tehran time. In Israel, air raid sirens began to wail across the entire country. From the northern borders with Lebanon and Syria, down to the Tel Aviv metropolitan area, and crucially, in Jerusalem itself, the population was sent scrambling into bomb shelters. The Israel Defense Forces confirmed that they had identified a barrage of missiles launched from Iran and that their air defense systems, including the famed Iron Dome and the longer-range Arrow system, were working to intercept the incoming threats. Residents of Tel Aviv reported that their GPS services were malfunctioning, a common tactic used to disrupt the guidance systems of precision munitions. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a televised address, vowed that the Israeli operation, codenamed Operation Lion's Roar, would continue as long as necessary to remove the existential threat posed by the Iranian regime. But the retaliation was not confined to Israel. In a dramatic and strategic expansion of the battlefield, Iran launched simultaneous strikes against American military assets and facilities across the entire Persian Gulf region. This was a calculated message to the United States and its Arab allies that hosting American forces now makes them direct targets. The IRGC announced it was striking US military bases in Bahrain, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. This was later confirmed by a series of official statements and witness reports from across the region. In Bahrain, the impact was immediate and visible. Huge plumes of black smoke were seen rising from an area near the headquarters of the US Navy's 5th Fleet in Manama, a facility known as Naval Support Activity Bahrain. This base is the home port for critical American ships, including minesweepers and logistical support vessels, and is the hub of American naval power in the Persian Gulf. The Bahraini government confirmed the attack on the US naval base, and the country's interior ministry began evacuating people from the Jafar area, where the base is located. Video footage circulating on social media, verified by Reuters, showed a thick grey plume of smoke rising from near the coastline as sirens wailed in the background. Further west, in Qatar, the sprawling Al Udeid air base came under fire. This is not just any base, it is the largest US military facility in the Middle East, hosting around 10,000 American troops and serving as a forward headquarters of our Central Command, CENTCOM. The Qatari Defense Ministry reported that it had successfully intercepted several missiles apparently targeting the base, and that its Asmet Patriot interceptors had downed at least one of them. A Qatari official confirmed to AFP that defense systems had engaged an Iranian missile as warning sirens sounded across Doha. Crucially, the US Embassy in Qatar had earlier issued a shelter-in-place and duck-and-cover advisory to American citizens, underscoring the gravity of the threat. The United Arab Emirates, a global hub of commerce and tourism, also found itself on the front line of this new conflict. Loud explosions were reported across the UAE capital, Abu Dhabi, a major oil producer and close American ally. Witnesses, including Reuters correspondents, reported hearing 5 loud booms in rapid succession near Abu Dhabi's Corniche, causing windows to vibrate. The UAE's defense ministry confirmed that the country was subjected to a blatant attack involving Iranian ballistic missiles. While stating that its air defense systems had dealt with the missiles with high efficiency and intercepted a number of them, the ministry also acknowledged a tragic consequence. Debris from an intercepted missile fell on a residential area in Abu Dhabi, killing at least one civilian of Asian nationality and causing material damage. Other witnesses reported explosions in the Al Dhafra and Bateen areas, the former being the location of Al Dhafra Air Base, a Kia's military installation. The strikes also extended to Kuwait, where explosions were reported near key military installations. The Camp Arifjan base, which serves as the forward headquarters of US Army Central, and the Ali Al Salem Air Base were reportedly targeted. In a significant development, an Iranian missile struck a military base in Kuwait that hosts Italian troops. Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani confirmed the attack, stating that the base housed around 300 Italian service members and that the missile had caused significant damage to the runway. Fortunately, all Italian personnel were reported safe. Jordan, a crucial Western ally that shares a border with Israel, also became a battleground. The Jordanian armed forces reported that they had shot down at least 2 ballistic missiles targeting its territory, with authorities confirming there were no casualties. Even Saudi Arabia, which has often sought to de-escalate tensions with Iran, was not spared. Journalists from the AFP news agency reported several explosions in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, and Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry later issued a statement condemning the blatant and cowardly Iranian attacks on its capital and in the country's oil-rich eastern province. In a move with immediate and profound global economic consequences, the IRGC announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow choke point, through which about 1/5 of the world's total oil supply passes, was declared unsafe for commercial traffic by Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Shipping companies and Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency confirmed that shipping through the strait had effectively been shut down. The US Maritime Administration promptly advised all ships to avoid the Persian Gulf, including the Strait of Hormuz, an action that is sure to send global oil prices skyrocketing when markets open. The human cost of this first day of retaliatory strikes is already staggering and deeply tragic. While the defensive systems in Israel and the Gulf states prevented a massive loss of life from the missiles themselves, the conflict has produced its own share of horror. The most heartbreaking incident occurred not on a military base, but at a girls' elementary school in the southern Iranian town of Minab, in Hormozgan province. Iranian state media, including the official IRNA news agency, reported that a strike, which they attributed to Israel, hit the Shazra Tayyiba school. The initial reports were chaotic and the numbers have fluctuated, but they point to a devastating tragedy. IRNA first reported at least 40 people killed and 45 wounded. Other state news outlets and Iran's Red Crescent gave higher tolls, with some reports suggesting more than 60 were killed. The state-run broadcaster, Arab, provided the most harrowing estimate, reporting 85 dead and 93 injured. The school is located near an IRGC naval base, suggesting it may have been struck by debris from an interceptor or by an errant missile, but for the families in Minab, the distinction is meaningless. This single event has already become a symbol of the war's capacity for inflicting unimaginable suffering on innocent civilians. Beyond the single tragedy, the broader damage to our assets is becoming clearer. An early assessment published by the New York Times, based on satellite imagery and official sources, indicates that the Iranian strikes were far more effective than initially believed. At least 17 US military, diplomatic, and air defense sites across the Middle East have been damaged since the start of the conflict. At least 11 of these are military bases or installations, representing nearly half of all such American facilities in the region. The costliest losses appear to be in the air defense network. Satellite imagery shows damage to a $1.1 billion early warning radar near Dahal in Qatar, a system designed to provide coverage across a 3,000-mile radius. Components of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, known as THAAD, have also been struck. A Pentagon assessment, cited by a congressional official, put the damage to the US Navy 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain at around $200 million. Tragically, the human toll on American forces is also mounting. Approximately 140 US service members have been wounded, with 8 killed, in Iran's retaliatory attacks since the campaign began. The diplomatic and political fallout from this day of fire is just as intense as the military conflict. The international community is scrambling to respond, with reactions sharply divided along geopolitical lines. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. Russia and China, two of the permanent members of the UN Security Council, have strongly criticized the military actions against Iran, with Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov condemning the unprovoked armed attack by the US and Israel as a violation of international law. In the West, the response has been more measured but still deeply concerned. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer convened an emergency meeting of the government's Cobra Committee to determine how Britain should respond, while a government spokesperson reiterated that Iran must never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon. French President Emmanuel Macron called for an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council and urged the Iranian regime to engage in good faith in negotiations. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen described the developments as deeply concerning and called for restraint. The reaction from the Arab states that were directly targeted has been one of outrage and a firm positioning against Iran. The UAE strongly condemned the attack, calling it a dangerous escalation and a cowardly act that threatens civilian safety and regional stability, while reserving its full right to respond. Qatar confirmed it had successfully thwarted a third wave of missiles. Saudi Arabia issued a powerful statement condemning the blatant Iranian aggression against Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, and the UAE, expressing full solidarity with them and warning of the grave consequences resulting from the continued violation of state sovereignty. In a curious twist of diplomacy, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, Esmail Baghai, attempted to soften the blow to its relations with these Arab states, stating that the retaliatory strikes on US bases in the region were a legitimate form of self-defense and did not contradict Iran's friendly relations with the countries on whose territory they are located. This message is unlikely to be well received in the Gulf capitals where debris is still being cleared. Amidst this chaos, the war of words continues. US President Donald Trump, in a video posted to Truth Social, framed the operation as a mission to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. He went further, urging the Iranian people to rise up against their government, a message of regime change that will only deepen the regime's paranoia and resolve. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, fired back, calling the US-Israeli war wholly unprovoked, illegal, and illegitimate, and vowing that Iran's armed forces will teach the aggressors the lesson they deserve. As night falls over the Middle East on this 28th day of February, the situation remains terrifyingly fluid. Commercial aviation has ground to a halt, with airlines like Air France, KLM, Lufthansa, and Turkish Airlines cancelling flights to and from the region. The US Abraham Lincoln and the US Gerald R. Ford carrier strike groups are positioned in the region, a massive naval armada serving as both a deterrent and a launchpad for potential further strikes. Former CENTCOM Commander General Kenneth F. Mackenzie Jr. described the current moment as a race to determine whether Iran can sustain its barrage of retaliatory strikes against the US's efforts to destroy its missile launchers. The world is now watching and waiting. Will this be a single, devastating exchange, or the first round of a protracted and bloody war? Will the Strait of Hormuz remain closed, plunging the global economy into a new energy crisis? And will the people of Iran, caught between a repressive regime and foreign bombs, heed President Trump's call to rise up, or will they rally around a leadership under existential attack? For now, we are left with the images. Smoke over Manama, sirens in Jerusalem, a destroyed school in Minab, and a region bracing for what comes next. The year is 2026, and the unthinkable war is no longer a threat, it is a reality. We will continue to monitor these developments around the clock and bring you updates as this historic and terrifying situation unfolds. This is the Global News Desk. Stay safe.